efforts to get that complete. We hope to be finished with that the first of the week. Any other things that's going on with the investigation, again, I'll refer to the gentleman behind me with that, and Sheriff Craft.
We're going to let these gentlemen back here explain kind of where we're at and what's going on and everything. I just wanted to take a moment and just advise everybody, please continue to keep the families in your prayers. Everybody's been on the scene working, and also just a big thank you to our communities that has come out and provided food for everyone that's been on the scene working. This has been several days and a lot of long hours, and the support has just been overwhelming. So we just want to give a thank you to everyone that's came out and helped us in that process.
Yeah, thanks, Sheriff. Yeah. Good morning. I'm Jamie Van Vliet. I'm a Special Agent in Charge for ATF's Nashville Field Division. Over the past 2 weeks, investigators from ATF's National Response Team, working side by side with our division agents and state and local partners, have spent nearly every daylight hour processing this enormous scene and conducting numerous interviews and scouring through records. Our National Response Team, certified explosive specialists, engineers, chemists, and other experts worked carefully, oftentimes on their knees, hand sifting and methodically examining every inch of the affected area, while documenting and collecting evidence to find what caused this tragedy, to find answers for those lives forever changed by it. Today, that part of our work, processing the scene, is complete. Through this process, our investigators have identified an area of origin, which is the area where the explosion originated, on the lower floor production level. And they have developed multiple scientific hypotheses regarding what caused this tragedy. While our physical work here has ended, our investigation is far from over. The next phase of this investigation happens at ATF labs and in testing facilities, where the evidence collected from the scene will be analyzed, examined, and tested, where the scene analysis and evidence-based explanations of what could cause the explosion will be researched, tested, and retested through the scientific process. Those results don't come quickly. They come through time, care, and precision. And that's what this community deserves, answers that are proven, not guessed. Until that time, until information is confirmed, I will not speculate on the cause of the explosion or comment on a potential cause, except to say, at this point, there is no indication of a threat to public safety. I do want to take a moment to address the families who lost so much. We know nothing we do can take away the pain of the precious lives lost. No investigation, no report, no determination can erase that. It is our hope that finding answers will be a step toward helping this community begin to heal. That's what drives every one of us who stands with me here today. I also want to take this moment to thank our partners. I can't say enough about the leadership of Sheriff Davis, Sheriff Craft, and Director Roush throughout this entire response. And to this community, thank you. Thank you for your patience, your kindness, and your strength. We've seen it on your faces, and the meal is dropped off to our entire team members and the quiet prayers you've offered. You've shown great grace through unimaginable heartbreak, and it has meant more to us than you know. As we move forward, we will continue to share information when we are certain of it. Until then, please know that our commitment to this community doesn't end today. I thank you for the support as we continue this investigation, and I'd like to introduce my colleague, Special Agent in Charge, Bryce McCracken.
Thanks, Jamie. Good morning. I'm Bryce McCracken, Special Agent in Charge for ATF's National Center for Explosives Training and Research, and I have the privilege of overseeing our National Response Team. I want to provide you guys with some technical information regarding what the team did here on site in McEwen. Over the 12 days on scene, the NRT and the entire investigative team accomplished a significant amount of work. As I discussed at our first press conference on Saturday, October 11th, the methodology for scene processing was a tiered approach that involved the identification and safe collection of explosive hazards, the identification and respectful recovery of victims, and finally the post-blast investigation to identify the origin and cause of the explosion. I'll speak on the post-blast investigation shortly. When tackling an enormous and complex scene like this one, the NRT separates into two investigative teams. One group solely focuses on examination and processing of the scene. and the second group, called the leads team, is responsible for everything else. That includes witness interviews, document collection and review, video collection and review, canvassing for witnesses, and following up on any other actionable leads that come throughout the course of the investigation. To give you a sense of the scope of our work and what was accomplished here on our 12 days on scene, the leads team generated 290 leads and completed 277 reports of investigation. Additionally, during the last days of the call-out, the leads desk received over 14,000 documents from Accurate Energetic Systems that were preliminarily reviewed. In addition, the team collected 12 explosive samples for additional testing and analysis at ATF's Forensic Science Laboratory. During the same time, the scene team documented all items of evidentiary value utilizing total station, GPS, 3D scanning, unmanned aerial systems, and 360-degree photography. During this process, approximately 500 acres of wooded property surrounding the blast site was searched by more than 80 members of ATF's National Response Team and special agents from our Louisville and Nashville field divisions. They were again searching for explosives hazards, victims, and explosive manufacturing equipment, which was kicked out during the initial explosion. During the investigation, it was determined that approximately 24,000 to 28,000 pounds of high explosives detonated during the explosion on October 10th. In addition, ATF explosive disposal operations were conducted throughout this investigation, with nearly 1,000 pounds of undetonated explosives that were recovered on site being safely disposed of here. The team began processing the explosive post-blast scene by working from the outer perimeter into the blast seat, which was located in Building 602. Building 602 was a 15,000 square foot building known as the mill cast and pour cast building. It was primarily used to make various types of cast boosters, which are used in the commercial mining industry. The building contained a mezzanine level with 6 melting kettles, and the main floor contained at least 3 production kettles. Explosives were mixed on the mezzanine before being pumped into the heating kettles on that main floor. In addition to those heating kettles, there were finished explosives on the main floor by the loading dock, along with a cooling area where the cast boosters were cooled prior to being packaged. As I mentioned earlier, the scene was processed around Building 602 before the team began to process the remains of Building 602. The building was divided in half. The half of the building that showed the least amount of explosive cratering and explosive damage was where we started first, before working into the area with the most damage. The team made their way to the blast seat, which is the suspected area of origin. After a systematic and methodical investigation, the lead certified explosive specialist for the NRT, along with other ATF explosive subject matter experts, determined the area of origin to be on the first floor of the manufacturing area near those production kettles. The cause of the explosion, as Zach Van Vliet mentioned, remains under investigation and will require further analysis and research regarding the chemical composition of the precursor materials and mixtures that are involved in this manufacturing process, and their decomposition levels, heat regulation, and other possible causes of the explosion. I want to take a moment to say that I couldn't be more proud of the team's work and the progress that we've made so far. They spent every daylight hour here for the past 12 days, methodically, tirelessly, and always with professionalism and heart to find answers for the community. Now that the scene processing is complete, I ask for your patience as we conduct further analysis and research and laboratory testing. When the origin and cause report for this investigation is completed and our findings are confirmed and finalized, we will be happy to share with the victims' families and the community those results. I'll be available at the end of the press conference to answer any further questions, and we have a display that I'll show at that time. Thank you.
Director
Good morning. Let me also share in the prayers to this community, to the families impacted by this tragedy. The role that the TBI played in this was to assist with the investigative process, as well as in the identification of those lost. As you know, at this point, 14 of 16 of the victims have been identified, and that is through the process of the collection of all possible evidence and materials of those remains of those who perished. All the testing that we have done at this point has identified 14 of the 16. The challenge, obviously, that exists is because of the nature of the scene, not being able to get remains to be able to positively identify the other two at this point. However, I can tell you in terms of expectations, when we arrived on scene and had conversations with the medical examiner's office, the expectation was 40 to 50% identification, and we were able to do over 87% identification in this. While that is certainly exceeded expectations, it certainly didn't meet what we were hoping. We were hoping to positively identify all 16 victims. The efforts continue as we have more to test, but at this point, that's where we are with our piece in this. I do want to thank the agencies, all that were involved, law enforcement as well as many others that came out and responded to this scene and provided their assistance. Too numerous to mention, but I can tell you they all came together quickly. And one of the blessings we have in Tennessee is we have such a great group of professionals that when we come together, we all work diligently to assure that whatever it is we're dealing with, whatever the tragedy, that we're all working closely together to get the answers that community needs and that families need. And I can tell you that won't stop. We'll continue to support this investigative effort with the ATF. We are so appreciative of the professionalism of all involved, and we certainly stand ready to support in this continued effort, and happy to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Director, on behalf of the families, Sheriff Kraft and I visited. They can't say thank you enough for the things y'all did to help get some kind of closure. When we said slow and methodical, in some of the earlier conferences, what we've alluded to and what you've heard is some of the descriptions of why we were saying things. At one time, we discussed yesterday that there was more than 500 acres that was searched shoulder to shoulder. You even heard them say it, talking about on their knees and having to cut through things at one time. And that was some things that we didn't necessarily want to go into at the time. We found items of interest from this situation more than a half mile away. And as the guy said, we may be finished here at the scene, and I can lay down my head at night and say that I think we've done the very best that can be done. And I have great confidence in that, and I have great confidence in how this thing will finish up, and the remainder of the stuff that'll be looked at and how it's being looked at. And Sheriff Kraft, you have anything you want to add? With that said, I know that we had the display the ATF guys wanted to show you, but we'll take any questions for a few moments at this time.
Can you describe...
Say your name and where you're from, please.
Sorry. Kristen Hall with the Associated Press.
Good morning, Kristen.
Thank you. Can you... You said an acronym. Can you maybe... Is it a chemical? Is it like a physical thing?
The explosive material. Explosive mixtures or other components together, and then we had bomb technicians, military EOD members on site, and they walked in line with the searchers And as they saw something that was of interest that they thought could be explosive material, it was marked, looked at, and then collected and taken over for disposal operations on another part of the facility.
And is this facility now up and running and everyone's back to work, or you know what that process is like for them now?
I don't. We turned the scene back over to AES yesterday at the duration of our on-scene investigation, and I'm not sure if they're back up and running at this point.
And is there a way that we get any closer, just even far enough to shoot the scene with our cameras, or is there a way that we can have drone overhead to get video now after the fact since the investigation is over?
Right now I can say that a no-fly zone has been requested for a few more days to wrap some things up.
This is as close as we can get today.
Yes, ma'am.
Dryden Quigley with Channel 4 here. I know you can't talk too much about why, but right now, are there any signs of negligence from the plant? Do you know at this point?
I'm going to leave that to the investigation. We don't want to speculate on anything. I know there's hypotheses that, as he said earlier, as Bryce said earlier, and I'm going to let the investigation take its process.
And second question, I know you said 2 have yet to be identified. Is there any hope that that could still happen with kind of what you're processing?
You know, as I said earlier, there are still some things at the TBI that need to be processed, and hopefully we can add more closure to what we have today.
Sheriff Amanda Roberts with News Channel 5. How are those 2 families feeling when you had to speak with them that they have not been positively identified?
I couldn't imagine, and speaking with them, I can hear it in their voice. I just don't think there's not enough words in the dictionary that we could use to describe those feelings or emotions, and I can't even or don't even want to imagine to try to do so.
How, once we do find the cause of the investigation, can you explain what happens then? Are there going to be other agencies involved?
You want
Yeah, once ATF completes its origin and cause investigation, we will then turn that over to our investigative partners, and depending on what the outcome of the investigation is, we'll determine where things go from there.
Investigative partners being the TBI and the other agencies?
It'd be TBI, it'd also be the 2 sheriff's offices and any other agencies that have the need to be part of the investigation.
Dryden Quigley again, and I assume this will take probably weeks, if not months, until you have a complete report.
Yeah, more likely months. Yeah, I mean, so the National Response Team deals with large-scale incidents. These were the same folks that were on scene earlier this year at the Palisades fire in California. That was about a 6-month time between the investigation and when the final report was written. But as we're working through this process, we're conducting a lot of research behind the scenes. The lead certified explosive specialist is writing that report. It's also being technically reviewed by all of our explosive subject matter experts to make sure everyone's in agreement as to what the findings are. So.
Araceli Gissens with Univision. We've obviously seen lawsuits and questioning some of the safety measures of AES. From an investigation standpoint, can you talk a little bit about maybe what during the investigation you observed that the company was doing to can you talk about whether you noticed safety measures being during the investigation, or were there maybe red flags that kind of raised out?
I think we need to leave that as part of the investigation right now and let that. I don't want to speculate on anything. I don't want somebody to take something that may be even partial statement or even partially said about that and misscrew it into something else. So I'm going to ask that we leave that as part of the investigation and let that, when it comes out, you'll be understanding and seeing it then.
Question from the AP again. Were there subcontractors or other smaller businesses that were working with AES in this building that you guys had to be interviewed? Or?
I'm not aware of any other subcontractors in this particular building. I know there are some other ones on the compound.
And then another question for ATF. Would this be a facility that gets inspected by ATF? Is that a process that would normally go on for this kind of facility?
Yes, under Safe Explosives Act, all explosives licensees are inspected every 3 years. So that is routine, yes.
And this facility had been having those inspections?
Yes, as any explosives licensee, yeah, they fall under those restrictions. However, to discuss details of prior inspections, I'm unable to do that. Yeah, that would have to be through a FOIA request.
Jackie from Epic Times, is there an environmental or health impact, short-term or long-term, for people in the area to inspect?
I don't think that there's any kind of environmental impact as far as no more than what's happened in the past. I mean, this is an area they do test explosives and things on the compound, and I don't think that there's going to be any kind of danger or any other type of issue that anybody could see that's been any different than in the past.
So you guys have continued exposures. I know you guys were doing tests last week, right? Will you have any more of those?
No, that was disposals, as we talked about and last week, and I don't foresee us having any other things here on the compound that's going to be happening.
Hope Allen with 517 again. I just wanted to know if there are other people that are allowed on the property that don't technically work their day-to-day, whether that be somebody that's contracted or somebody that's coming in. Are you guys investigating those things as well?
I don't mean to escape that question, but that would be up to Accurate as to who comes and goes from the facility, and I'm sure that information that you requested is probably in the thousands of documents, or that you asked about is probably in the thousands of documents that they've received from Accurate, and I'm telling you, it's thousands of documents.
And right now at this point, can you guys allude to it being more accidental or possibly intentional? Is there any way to give any of that right now?
I don't even want to speculate on that. Let's let the process take its course and let that come out at the end.
One thing we've been hearing from families driving through the Channel 4, we've heard from 4 separate families. They had questions about wetting the floors in between shifts. Have you seen anything, or do you know if that's been something?
Forgive me again, but I want to leave that as part of the investigation. I don't mean to try to evade or dismiss that question, but I just want to leave that as part of the investigation as a whole. Last question.
You mentioned remnants of the explosion being felt and being reported about half a mile away, more than a mile away. Can you give a rough estimate of the number of people who called in, who also maybe reported that in their backyard they saw?
You know, I haven't even had a time, and I know Sheriff and I have retrieved those documents, but we hadn't even had the time to necessarily look at all the 911 calls. Here again, I know it's stuff that's part of the investigation. I know they've got everything, recordings, radio traffic, and all that. The number of calls, it was just enormous. It's been overwhelming as far as the calls and people giving information about what they heard and saw that day. You had a question, and I hadn't talked to anybody.
It might be for ATF.
Sure.
Up with the Tennessean. Was this one singular explosion, or did it cause like a chain reaction of explosions with all the other materials within the building, or was it just contained to one singular blast?
So it's the initial explosion occurs in those production kettles, and then we believe that in addition to that, there was a sympathetic detonation of other explosive material stored on that main floor.
Or did you have something? I thought you. I did. Okay.
Guys, I appreciate y'all. I want to respect the families on that. I want to respect them because I know that they're getting overwhelmed. A lot of the families are getting overwhelmed by Facebook people and more so of anything like that. So I really, really want to respect the families. I think we've done a great job of doing that up until now, and I want to be able to say that we finished that or finished this with that same thing. So I appreciate all of you very much. As always, I'll give you my word. Anytime that we can get any kind of information out there, Ms. Gray will be in touch with you, and we'll continue to do that. So I really appreciate each and every one of you and your patience. I know some of this has been trying. It's been trying for y'all. I know it's been trying for y'all, but it's been way more trying and very difficult for us as well. So again, I appreciate what the director said about the continued prayers for the families, the thoughts, and it's like I said the other night at one of the vigils. It's these burials and ceremonies come quick, and people show up with the food and come and go. But this is things that's going to be voids in people's lives for a lifetime, and we just need to continue to remember these families, not for just today or tomorrow, but from now on. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.
don't know the best way for you guys to capture this, but just to try to give you an understanding of the scene, this is building 602 on day one when the NRT did their UAS flyover versus day 10. You can see as we've done that post-blast scene investigation, we went from all the debris on the floor to a clean slab of concrete. Yeah. Yeah, we can get a digital version and have our public information officer look it up.
Can you say what part of the building it started?
Yeah, so the, sorry, I'm looking at it upside down. Going to be in this area is where that initial, those production kettles were.
You said kettle, like I think of a...
Yeah, kettle holds a couple hundred pounds of material at any given time.
How big would that be? Like,
So I saw pictures of them yesterday. They are they're pretty good size around. Yeah.
Like a car?
No, not that big. Trying to think of a good analogy, but
a bathtub?
smaller than a bathtub, but like kind of. I'm gonna throw that down. I mean, like that in diameter, and then kind of like a big cauldron or bowl looking thing. But yeah.
And they have to do all that by hand too, mixing them?
Yeah, so everything is mixed up top, and then it pumps down into the lower floor where it stays heated, and then they're able to pull it out in a pitcher, and then they're each cast is hand poured into the cardboard tube. Yeah. But we'll also work on getting you guys a digital one of these through our public information officer. So, everybody good?
What risk is that?